What's up, Tube? Okay, so I wanted to 3D print something. I haven't done it in a while. And there's a lot of stuff you got to do before you can 3D print something. So I was going to just walk you guys through the process in case you've ever been interested in doing it. So this is Chi2Box. It is a new project. Chi2Box is like a freeware program that Elegoo uses. I use an Elegoo Saturn III. It's a large 3D printer, does resin prints. I made, so in order to keep my stuff like organized for this, I made myself a new folder, and as you can see, it made itself very, very small. So let's see, we're going to do, this is what we're going to print. Let me find so we are going to be printing a model from Stationforge. Stationforge is one of my favorite model makers. They do a lot of really cool stuff with Warhammer. Adjacent, legally distinct Warhammer. It's also relatively, it's cheap for what you get. It's $11 a month. And you get like a pack of stuff. Okay, Tube, I'll have to mess with that. A bunch of my stuff got messed up when I switched over to 1440p. Okay. So let's go in library. I'll show you some of the stuff I've got I want to print eventually. So make this bigger. So like currently I've got DACA and I've got Stationforge. Those are the only two I really have access to. I don't have a current subscription to DACA, or one of the two. I only have one. But they both put out really cool stuff. As you can see, it's just a shitload of minis. So I like Stationforge partly because they do stuff like this, where it's like interchangeable bits. So they have like this. It's a battle dozer, but it's also got like guys that come on it that are the right size, so you can like put them in the back. And it comes with like a battle sled that you can like hook up to the trailer, the back. They do a really good job of like just making really cool stuff. Fucking hover sled. Let's see. And then DACA does a lot of orc stuff, which is generally my favorite. So like this pack is just a shitload of orcs. And you would use these as proxies for the Warhammer tabletop game. What we'll be printing today is this gentleman, the Mega Stoppa. And it's a pretty cool little guy. Comes in all these parts. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the part lists and break him down and support his parts. When you buy kits, like one of these STL file kits, generally they'll come with pre-supported, and those are generally fine. I do, however, like to use my own supports because I find that pre-supports are kind of like only really good for super generic. I have, no special printer. Whereas like I kind of know mine a little bit better. So we're going to go through and we're going to organize everything, and we're going to make sure that we get these little guys made. These are the 3 little guys that hang out with him. They're little minis, but they're very, very small. And so he'll be pretty big. Like we're going to make him as big as we can. And then I'm going to print him and I'm going to paint him. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. So there's one more I wanted to show you guys before we get started. This chick. So there's this character Mortarion. He's one of the Primarchs. He's a very smelly gentleman. Before he fell to chaos, he looked like this. He had like an enviro suit that spit poison gas at him, and he used plasma guns and a scythe. And then he turned into a chaos demon, and turned into. Let's see if we can get a cleaner version of that. No, I don't care about you. So he turns into like a moth with like the ability to fly, and he's got stink that comes off of him and all sorts of things. And there's this scythe, and it's like changed a little bit. So what Stationforge did, and they've done this a couple times before, they made a female version of him to be legally distinct. He's got his scythe and the plasma gun and his little cherubs and stuff. And I think it's awesome looking. Or I'm sorry, this is Daka, not Stationforge. They have one of like Angron, who's another Primarch, and they're just really neat. I think they're neat. But this would be, or that would be way more fragile than what we're going to do. What we're going to do is going to be pretty solid. Anything else cool in here right now? Artillery, some mech boys, ratlings. How was your weekend, Tube? Oh, I eventually want to do this guy. I have him downloaded also. So he's a war boss. He's a mecha knob. So a knob is like a strong version of an orc, and he's in a mecha suit. He's got his little hype man up here. He's got 2 Gatling guns on this arm and a power claw on that one. Pretty cool. So yeah, eventually I want to do him too. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Yeah. Been dealing with some stuff, as always. We bought a car from Carvana. That was an interesting process. Our car's heater stopped working. It's been a week. Mega Stompa. Oh, you did, Drake? Awesome. Okay, so just for your guys' sake, I'm going to make everything big. So we've got our 2 non-supported, and then these are our war boss. No, never enough. It's really good for indie games, Drake. I play a lot of, when I use it, it's really good for Balatro because it's like still large enough to read, but it has the same like maneuverability as like a phone. And then I use it for twin stick stuff like Survivors games. It's really good for. And then it's pretty good for RPGs as long as the writing is not too small. Yeah. I played Dave the Diver on it a ton. That's pretty good. Okay, we're going to extract both of these that we downloaded from the site, and we're just going to put them in here. We don't really know how many parts there's going to be until we get everything pulled out. I like to put everything in one little spot. I generally don't like it when they do 2 different folders, but I can't really complain. They're the one doing all the work. Yeah, dude. Steam has been there's some rewards program that the developer can get if they make their stuff Steam compatible. Because the Steam is making a big push to be its own operating system. And so they've been doing a great job of making all their stuff compatible. I don't know if you were here when we messed with my Steam Deck, but I got everything working. We had one loose connector in the thing, and now it works perfectly fine. Pretty excited with it. I've got the sweet like see-through purple back, The nice thing is this thing right here, there's a, yeah, there you go. There's a cutout right here in like the shape of the logo from the company, but it actually is right over the CPU fan. And so it actually helps quite a bit because there's, on like a normal one, there's these, there are little vents and everything, but there's nothing up here. And so this gives it a direct way out. So it's kind of nice. Uh, it's not super hard. Sadly, when I did it, I didn't have a good second camera. Now I do. So the next time we do something like that, or I paint or whatever, I have a good second camera. It's not too hard. You just got to make sure all the little connectors and everything are really secure in there when you go back in. Let's see. Trying to decide if I want to turn on some music or something in the background. My goal is to try to get all of this stuff supported. And then after that, I will we'll get everything sized up so that we can print it in a couple of different batches. And then whatever we have left for the night, I'll play Red Dead or something. The shell was like $20. I can get you a link for it if you'd like. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and play some music. Hold on. I'm just moving some stuff around on my other screen. Give me 1 second. Can you guys hear that? It should be pretty quiet. Okay, I want to show more options. Include in library music. Ba-ba. Sorry, I don't do a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm going to try to make it quiet. Dang it. There they are. So the problem is, like, all these songs are not registering. So many songs. Add to this one. Okay. Now we can go back to desktop. Got too much stuff on here. Orcs. Okay, let's do this. So we should just be able to click and drag these in here. Okay, the first thing I like to do is go a little crazy and just see how big the total project is. The answer is big. So it's loading in individual pieces right now. Then we're going to go in and we're going to kind of figure out what we can put in one tray at a time, and fit it, finagle it to reduce how many different trays we're going to have to print. Okay. Basically, if it's red, it won't print. So it's a vertical cube above this build plate, and I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. It's having a day. Okay, dude. Okay, so this is all the bits. As you can see, it's kind of smushed some together up here, so we can like manipulate them and move them around a little bit. Kind of get a better picture of how big this thing's supposed to be. And everything, unless stated otherwise, this is just a fist. Everything should scale perfectly. So like if we make something 200% size, everything can be 200% size. The problem is it uses a shitload of resin. But I have a shitload of resin. Okay. So we've kind of exploded it out. So let's pick a piece and we'll use that as our register. Like as our thing that we're going to pick all of our sizes based on. And we'll do the fist just because it's easily recognizable. So if I want to flip it. Sorry, it's been a while since I've done it. There it is. So pretty much always I build like vertical. So if you're building like this, you give up a lot of build plate. This is the build plate. And you want it to be vertical because it takes up less room. It does take longer because it prints per Z level, right? But you're able to get much more on a plate. And so even though it takes longer, you can start it before you go to work, start it before you go to bed. And, you know, it doesn't matter if it was a 2-hour print or an 8-hour print, you're not going to be there anyway. So like I can move this over here, right? And it takes up quite a bit of room. Let's see if we can, let's make it big. So if I was going to make it twice as big, which is probably not a good idea. It's official. Oh, no, it can work. But just the fist would be a whole build plate. So it's tube. With like regular filament printers, the way it works is the amount of filament you're like melting down. So like that's because like it goes across, you know, like a printer, like a Xerox or something. That dictates how long it takes, not just the height. For a resin printer, every single dot, like let's say this is 1,000 dots, right? It doesn't matter if there's one dot in this corner or 1,000 dots total across the entire build plate. They will all build at the exact same speed. The only thing that matters for speed is height. Yeah. Dude, Drake, it's awesome, especially like when you're sick or something. Let's try 150 and see what that looks like. Oh, shit. Come on. 150. There we go. So I think 150 is going to be good. So we're going to go like this. We're going to click on everything over here. We're going to do 150. Okay, so this is everything. So we've got some big pieces. Let's try to get the big pieces all together. What's up, babe? Okay. You okay? My wife has an infected tattoo. It doesn't look as pretty as it did, but we're working on it. She's a little sad.
$800.
It was $800?
$200 on payment, $600 at the time of paying.
Oh, I thought it was $650 total.
No.
Oh. Yeah, it's infected. She's got like a staph infection from it. It's all over her arm and everything. She'll be okay. She's got antibiotics. We're working on it.
And my artist already said he touched up.
Okay. Dude, this is a lot of stuff. Let's start lining up dudes. You know what? Hold on, I'm gonna do this. Boop, boop, boop. All three of you guys. Dang it. Okay. So these three guys, we know that they're going to take up very little room. And so we kind of just want to put them out of the way in a part of the build plate where they won't get damaged, because they're going to be very delicate. What in the world? Oh, great. AMD is top. God damn it. Fucking AMD. Right. That's what we're going to do, Tube. But I crashed. God damn it. So this is the problem with using a Radeon card, is that it doesn't have the same like industry behind it that a NVIDIA does. It's not like it takes a long time to load back up. I don't care. Leave me alone. Now, if that keeps happening, then I'll have to figure something out. I'm just going to grab a few pieces now. So we generally know that 150 is going to work. So we can go through and just grab a few parts at a time. And what we're going to do is, and we'll do this in a second. Basically, as you find how many things fit on a bed, you're going to make a list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a screenshot. Okay, and then I can go in here, and so like if all of these parts fit, I can literally cross them off the list so that we don't double print anything. Okay. This should be a lot more manageable for the computer. Okay, we want to go in here. 150. Let's see if we can fit everything. Okay, a couple things. You never want to print totally vertical because you're printing in a liquid medium and you want it to be able to drip. And you're going to be printing upside down. So this will be at the top. This will be at the bottom. If this was perfectly vertical, liquid resin could pool here and hurt your print quality. But if you make it diagonal, it's going to flow off of here and down as it goes. So like we can take this guy and put him right here. That's inside the build plate. Okay. This big guy over here. And I like Chitubox because it does a good job of showing you if everything's going to be inside the build plate or not. You know, because sometimes it's hard to see in a 3D perspective like this. Holy shit. Looks like that's going to be the closest we can get it. Oh, that'll be good. FPSs are good, man. You'll have a good time with that. So I think this might be too many big pieces for one build plate. Let's grab these little guys. Treat these guys as all as a group. I gotta split them up now. I really want there to be WASD support. Actually, I want it to be like keyboard in general instead of having to use your mouse for everything. Okay. If we tilt that guy back a little bit, we can fit. So we're basically trying to confine his vertical to make as much room around him as possible. Who are you freaking out? Okay. I'm gonna turn you. So those guys will all take up very little room. They're all kind of slanty. Yeah. So this guy, these guys are too small to really have to worry about issues with printing. It's generally the larger stuff, the heavier stuff that you're going to have problems with. But this guy's like finger, going to be highly, it's a breaking point. Same thing with like this dude's toes, his little scarf, telescope, stuff like that. But then you look at something like the cannon. The cannon is probably going to be fine as long as I support it enough. Okay, we want to do this. I want to make that a little bit less straight up and down. And then obviously we're going to have to move it a little bit. So yeah, it's just like puzzles. It's basically just a puzzle that we're trying to figure out. That's a big ass piece. Oh, it's hollow. Okay, so when you're doing large pieces like this, you want them to be hollow. Every solid piece is a shitload of resin, and resin is expensive. Plus, you want it to have multiple egresses. So as it's printing going up like this, starts down here, goes up. You want it to be able to intake oxygen on one end and then drip resin out of somewhere else. Sometimes different resins can off-gas, and it can cause explosions, and it ruins your prints. So it's just something to remember. Now this guy's got a weird... He's the belt. So we're going to have to get a little creative on this one. I got rid of that small one. Get rid of this one. I could print it. This one is side turret tower. Okay. This one is main turret attachment. So we're going to go ahead and clock. Okay, and then this one is turret barrel, right? Turret tip, okay. And then we've got the 3 gobos. And then let's see if we can fit this big chunka. Not quite. Let's try something a little different. It's like Tetris, but if you fail, it costs money. Nope. Okay. Okay, where are we freaking out on this one? Is it just not in there far enough? Oh, it's over on this. Boom. Dang it. Not boom. Dang, it's just slightly too big. I'm waiting for it to detect. That's pretty close, but it looks okay. Okay, that's turret tower object. Okay. And then crane stance. Okay, and so then we're going to get rid of this guy. This is going to be our first build plate. First thing we're going to do is we're going to save it. And we're going to save it in our one we just made. Orcs. Project. Gob 1, 2, 3, crane stance, turret tower, main turret attachment. You want to try to leave as much as you can in there. Main turrets. We didn't have the turret tower. $150. So the 150 is how the percentage that we have it at, right? My very scientific, I've just been crossing stuff off using the thing. Okay, so we're going to come over here. We're going to do slice. Generating slice preview. Woo. I'm having to detect islands. So before we do our, like, all of our struts and everything, I want to do, like, a detection for islands. Islands are parts of builds that will not function on their own and will not build. Now, a lot of times when you do island detection, it's not actually, like, gonna find anything, and if it does, it's not necessarily islands. So you just kind of got to skim it over and make sure everything looks okay. On these parts, I don't really see anything that's going to be an issue except for maybe the hammer. Problem is the hammer head starts lower than the handle. which means this part's going to print first, and then this, and then so like until the handle gets done, it's not going to be connected. I wonder why. So on YouTube, I never get any of these like best viewers or whatever bots. Twitch, every night. I don't understand it. People are idiots. The only reason why you would ever do bots is if you didn't actually care about your numbers, you just wanted to look cool. Just doesn't make any sense. Come on. My computer is running slow. Now, it could be that Chi2 doesn't work well with Radeon, which would suck a lot, because I've got like the best Radeon card. But there's nothing I can much do about that. Ooh, shit. So as you can see, it's detected islands. So we can go down through the Z levels, and it'll show us. I'm gonna go all the way down. Okay. So this is the first thing that it will print. You can kind of follow. On the right is the vertical. On the left is the real. So it looks like currently this big piece right here has some islands in the middle, but it doesn't look like anything too bad. We're looking for like big honking islands that are going to be an issue. See, it says there's some in the Z level, but I don't see any. Once you know you can trust a producer, so like I trust Stationforge. Generally, you don't really have to check for islands, but it's always good to do on a new print. So like I'm doing it on this one because I've never processed this model before. And so there could be an issue with this model. But now that we know that this model is generally pretty good, we don't really need to worry about it. So we're going to highlight everything. We're going to go over here to the supports. It'll kick everything up a couple Z levels so that we can build rafts under them. Okay. Go with that in a second. So it's going to build a raft at the very bottom, and the raft is going to be larger than the actual model by about 5%, I think. And what that does is it grants stability. Now, your raft does not have to be all in. Obviously, if you're trying to get the most out of your build plate, it won't be. But there's not much you can do. And if we go like this, you can see the colors. Okay? So I'm not actually connected to this raft at all. The raft is green, which means that it's good. All this red and orange is places that there needs to be support, but there isn't. So as you can see, there's lots of it. We just need to go in here, and we're going to do auto support for most of it. We're going to do auto support medium. It's going to run on each individual object. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're kind of going to look at each little individual thing, and we're going to see if any of them have stuff that's outside the bounds, like this right here, or if it looks like there's stuff that needs to be supported more. So like on this little guy right here, his telescope is a failure point. And so he's got 3 little dudes on it. I'm going to add one more. Okay. His hammer looks pretty good. Big Chonker's going to have some issues. So the nice thing too, like when you remove these supports, it's going to pockmark the build if you're not careful. But it's orc stuff; it's already pockmarked, so I can support the shit out of this and it won't matter. I don't like having big flat surfaces with any with no supports. So we're just going to kind of go a couple on the thing. This is all going to be facing the bed. Yeah, Dad. Okay. Okay. A big ass flat surface. I'm going to stay away from this very flat area because it actually might pop mark. They don't have to be very close to each other. Like, yes, the support. So like on this one, you see the scaffolding. That's helpful, but it's not necessary. Okay. Let's do some support on this little guy right here. Looks like we got some on each of those. I got the LCD one, man. It's great. I was kind of mad when they released the OLED, but I mean, I don't really care. Let's face it, it doesn't really matter. What up, Beer City? How you doing, man? Okay, this one looks pretty good. Nope. One thing that's nice about G2 also is it uses the common like Control V, Control Z, stuff like that, so you can do it pretty fast. You know, you're not fumbling around for different like keys and stuff. It's not letting me do anything here. I'm not a fan of that. Come on. Got it. This is just going to be a very heavy piece, and I want to make sure that I have enough support for it. So the cool thing is, like, as you can see, like, there's an entire like spruce set over here. They're going inside. Some of them are stopping at this window, but some of them are straight up going inside. You can see that if you look down on it. And I think that's really cool. Basically, when we're processing this, we're going to have to rip these out from the inside. It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but also, like, it's going to make it not fail. So I'm going to give it some more support because it's losing a few on this side over here. Okay, I think the only thing we have to do is this little area right here. I'd like to do a run up this this wall just to support it. Come on. Okay. And then I want to do one there. That's fine. So now all we got to do is we got to go back. And we've got to slice it for really reals this time. Yes, we know it. We know it exceeds. There's actually internal supports inside the barrel too. I didn't realize that. Big pieces like that should be fine. Okay. Exposure time 2.5. Lift speed's fine. These are all already set from my machine. I've already messed with it before. Okay, so we want to save. And this is going to be a parts list. Hold on. Gobs. Crane. Main T. T object. Main turret tip. 150. Yeah, it's not a pretty name, but it works. So now what it's doing is it's taking it through basically like what like a CAD process, where it's taking it from a non-rendered, it's rendering it out, individual Z levels, like 3,000 of them, and it's going to print it, or it's going to process it so we can print it. It's putting it into a CTB form. And if we look up here while this is going, this is how long this build plate's going to take. It's going to weigh 592 grams. We're using normal resin. We've got print time of 6.5 hours. And according to this, the print price is going to be $17. That's not true. I buy all my resin on cheap. So I've got to go through and do this like 5 more times. I think what we're going to do is nothing against this. But I think once you've seen one set of it, you probably don't need to see the rest. So after we get this processed, we'll switch over to Red Dead. We'll play that for a little while tonight. Because this isn't a very complex, like it's a lot of pieces and they're very bulky. It's a lot of like very tedious work compared to like one very delicate piece. That would be a lot of different, like going through and making sure the struts are all in different spots and everything. Okay. It is moving a little bit faster now. Okay. Yeah. Open the folder. As you can see, we've got our Chi2 box file, which is like if we had a Word document. And then if you took that Word document and processed it into a PDF, it would be the CTB file. And so if we need to make an error, like, so, okay. When you're processing it, you put everything on a flash drive, and then you take the flash drive out to the printer. Unless you have Bluetooth on it or Wi-Fi. I don't. It costs too much money. So we would only need the CTB file. We would leave this one back on our computer. But let's say that we print it and it fails. And we know we need to fix like this piece. We open up the Word version, the Chi2 box file, and that'll allow us to modify actual things. If our settings are wrong, so like our exposure time, our distance, our speed, then we'd only have to open the CTB file, and it's one step less processing. So it's just one more thing that you have to kind of learn as you go, is which file you need to update. Because if you update this one, you have to delete this one and reprocess it, which takes longer. So that's one file, and I've got to do 5 more of them. So I think for tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to switch over and do some more Red Dead.